in the midterms. That
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me.
And why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election to try to keep...
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign...
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
They're hundreds of miles away. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, you know what?
That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question. Mr. President,
that's enough.
I was going to ask one other, the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have...
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation
because
it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down to this?
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts.
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either, so
I understand.
To be honest.
So let me ask you a question, if I can. You repeatedly
said... You aren't the best.
Mr. President, you repeatedly, over the course of the...
Okay, just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir, at the end of the campaign, you repeatedly said that Americans need to fear Democrats. You said would unleash a wave of violent crime that endangers families everywhere. Why are you pitting Americans? Why are you pitting Americans against one another, sir?
Peter, you're trying to be him.
No, I'm just asking the question.
Let me just tell you, very simple. Because they're very weak on crime. Go ahead, take the...
Was one extreme, and then we came into the Reagan administration, yet
nothing changed.
Nothing changed. What you're saying is that no matter what the political leanings, they seem to be playing the same game.
As long as you're playing their game, it doesn't matter who you vote for, who you put in office. They all belong to the other side. They're the pockets of the Illuminati. When you quit electing professional politicians, when you quit electing the guy who looks nice on television because he speaks good and he looks like the guy you wanted to marry or something like that, you're playing right into their hands. You know, they've made it so impossible for another Abraham Lincoln to get elected to the office of president that it's a wonder that we even have a chance at all. We need to send people to Congress and to government who are going to clean house. Kick all the members of secret societies out of the bureaucracy. Lock them up. Try them for treason. Because they are traitors.
So one thing that may help is term limitations.
We must have term limitations, and it must be only one term. And forget all this nonsense that anybody goes to Washington and don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening simply because they haven't taken the time as citizens to understand how our government works before they ever go to Washington. You see, it should be a process that starts in infancy. It works its way up. And everybody should be taking part in the government.
Now, if someone came in to office with this kind of knowledge and with this kind of intent to really push these people out, would they not be eliminated immediately?
Not if they have the people behind them, because what the people would do in one fell swoop, in one election, would elect people who've never served in government before, kick the incumbents out, send citizens to Washington. And here's the way it has to be done. You know, right now, you don't even pay your congressman. You know who pays your congressman? The federal democracy of the District of Columbia. The federal government pays your congressman, who's supposed to be representing your state and you. The federal government is a foreign country to your state. Why should he represent you?
In the midterms. That
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President,
Come on.
that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr.
I
President,
consider it to be an
as you know,
invasion.
Mr. President, caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling
And
me that.
why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants
Not
in this
at all.
election
No, not
to
at all.
try to keep?
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, Najee? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
They're hundreds of miles away. They're hundreds and hundreds of
You know
miles
what?
away. That's
I
not
think
an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, you know
miles
what?
away. That's
I
not
think
an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much
if
better.
I may
Okay,
ask
that's
one other
enough.
question, Mr. President. I was
That's
going to
enough.
ask one other. The other folks.
That's
have had,
enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me, that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
that you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming down?
investigation because it's a hoax.
Are you-
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this?
Mr. President,
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a
I've
very
worked-
rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts
Well,
his
I'm
butt
not a
like
big
the rest
fan of
us.
yours either, so
I understand.
to be honest.
So let me ask you a question if I can. You repeatedly
You
said,
aren't the best.
Mr. President, you repeatedly, over the course
Okay,
of the...
just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir, Sir, at the end of the campaign, you repeatedly said that Americans need to fear Democrats. You said would unleash a wave of violent crime that endangers families everywhere. Why are you
Because
pitting
they're very weak on
Americans?
crime.
Why are
Excuse
you
me.
pitting? Why are
Excuse
you
me.
pitting Americans
Peter.
against one another, sir?
Peter, you're trying to be him.
No, I'm just asking the question.
Let me just tell you. Very simple. Because they're very weak on crime. Go ahead, take the.
The Carter administration was one extreme, and then we came into the Reagan administration, yet
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. What you're saying is that no matter what the political leanings, they seem to be playing the same game.
As long as you're playing their game, it doesn't matter who you vote for, who you put in office. They all belong to the other side. They're the pockets of the Illuminati. When you quit electing professional politicians, when you quit electing the guy who looks nice on television because he speaks good and he looks like the guy you wanted to marry or something like that, you're playing right into their hands. You know, they made it so impossible for another Abraham Lincoln to get elected to the office of president that it's a wonder that we even have a chance at all. We need to send people to Congress and to government who are going to clean house. Kick all the members of secret societies out of the bureaucracy. Lock them up. Try them for treason. Because they are traitors.
So one thing that may help is term limitations.
We must have term limitations, and it must be only one term. And forget all this nonsense that anybody goes to Washington and don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening simply because they haven't taken the time as citizens to understand how our government works before they ever go to Washington. You see, it should be a process that starts in infancy. It works its way up, and everybody should be taking part in the government.
Now, if someone came in to office with this kind of knowledge and with this kind of intent to really push these people out, would they not be eliminated immediately?
Not if they have the people behind them, because what the people would do in one fell swoop, in one election, would elect people who've never served in government before, kick the incumbents out, send citizens to Washington. And here's the way it has to be done. You know, right now, you don't even pay your congressman. You know who pays your congressman? The federal democracy of the District of Columbia. The federal government pays your congressman, who's supposed to be representing your state and you. The federal government is a foreign country to your state. Why should he represent you?
in the midterms. That
Here we go.
That well, if you
Let's
don't
go.
mind,
Let's
Mr.
go.
President,
Come on.
that this caravan was an invasion. As you know,
I
Mr. President,
consider it to be an
As you know,
invasion.
Mr. President, caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling
And
me that.
why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election
No, not
to
at all.
try to keep?
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
They're hundreds of miles away. They're hundreds and hundreds of
You know
miles
what?
away. That's
I
not
think
an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, you know
miles
what?
away. That's
I
not
think
an
you
invasion.
should, honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much
if
better.
I may
Okay,
ask
that's
one other
enough.
question, Mr. President. I was
That's
going to
enough.
ask one other. The other folks.
That's
have had,
enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me, that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming down?
investigation because it's a hoax.
Are you-
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Mr. President,
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a
I've
very
worked-
rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts
Well,
his
I'm
butt
not a
like
big
the rest
fan of
us.
yours either, so
I understand.
to be honest.
So let me ask you a question, if I can. You repeatedly
You
said,
aren't the best.
Mr. President, you repeatedly, over the course
Okay,
of the...
just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir, at the end of the campaign, you repeatedly said that Americans need to fear Democrats. You said would unleash a wave of violent crime that endangers families everywhere. Why are you
Because
pitting
they're very weak on
Americans?
crime.
Why are
Excuse
you
me.
pitting?
Excuse me.
pitting Americans
Peter.
against one another, sir?
Peter, you're trying to be him.
No, I'm
Peter,
just
let
asking
me
the
just,
question.
Let me just tell you, very simple. Because they're very weak on crime. Go ahead, take the.
The Carter administration was one extreme, and then we came into the Reagan administration, yet
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. What you're saying is that no matter what the political leanings, they seem to be playing the same game.
As long as you're playing their game, it doesn't matter who you vote for, who you put in office. They all belong to the other side. They're the pockets of the Illuminati. When you quit electing professional politicians, when you quit electing the guy who looks nice on television because he speaks good and he looks like the guy you wanted to marry or something like that, you're playing right into their hands. You know, they've made it so impossible for another Abraham Lincoln to get elected to the office of president that it's a wonder that we even have a chance at all. We need to send people to Congress and to government who are going to clean house. Kick all the members of secret societies out of the bureaucracy. Lock them up. Try them for treason. Because they are traitors.
So one thing that may help is term limitations.
We must have term limitations, and it must be only one term. And forget all this nonsense that anybody goes to Washington and don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening simply because they haven't taken the time as citizens to understand how our government works before they ever go to Washington. You see, it should be a process that starts in infancy. It works its way up, and everybody should be taking part in the government.
Now, if someone came in to office with this kind of knowledge and with this kind of intent to really push these people out, would they not be eliminated immediately?
Not if they have the people behind them, because what the people would do in one fell swoop, in one election, would elect people who've never served in government before, kick the incumbents out, send citizens to Washington. And here's the way it has to be done. You know, right now, you don't even pay your congressman. You know who pays your congressman? The federal democracy of the District of Columbia. The federal government pays your congressman, who's supposed to be representing your state and you. The federal government is a foreign country to your state. Why should he represent you?
All right. Welcome to the Patriot Hour for Monday, 11/26/2018. I'm Michael, your host. We got Ben joining in a minute here. I just wanted to take a quick minute to say, if you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us. If you found us from the Patriot Hour, then it worked. We're still, this is our live stream feed over here, so please subscribe. It's a little song and dance to get a video up over there. Over here, you have to have separate browsers. It's just a real good time. Okay, I wanted to show you guys I have no issues. Here is the Patriot Hour, all right? Everything we put up, everything is getting shadow banned yellow, all right? Yellow means limited or no ads. The amount we would make anyway is really peanuts on the dollars. It definitely helps, again, with software, monthly fees and bills for internet and power consumption. But here's what we're facing. Every video goes yellow. I request reviews. After days and weeks, I'll go green and say, okay, yeah, it's a decent video. But it's already hit its peak. It ain't really earning or doing anything anymore. But so everyone, even the live stream one I just put out. So it doesn't matter what we do. Okay, so without further ado, let's get Ben in here. All right, we got Ben.
What up to all the Patriots? Another awesome afternoon. A lot of you guys have been here. Almost 72 you guys here, I see. I like...
All right, sorry, I was looking over at another monitor. Making sure everything's fired up here. Lots going on.
Lots going on.
So what's going on? Okay, I see some stuff in here. Bill Smith, did he pass away? I heard he was putting out videos on another, that he got banned from YouTube. I don't know what's true. I know Elle was looking into that.
Yeah, we don't know if he got another backup channel. He's going under a different name. He or she's going under a different name. We don't, or, you know, I don't know what team behind that. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows on that one?
All right. Eld, I don't know. I sent you that video link. I don't know if you were able to download it successfully. I don't know how that Google Drive works, but it was a little bit bigger of a file than just an email would allow. So it looked like I got several emails from you. None of them, I allowed a couple of them. So you should be able to go back to the first two to download that if you're having any issues. But all right.
Pretty cool little intros.
Yeah, I showed Ben through here. Okay, so we had a few things we wanted to show here, didn't we? Let me see here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, check this out, you guys.
All right, I won't have any sound. I don't need it. So this is supposedly yesterday at the Tijuana, San Diego area border, or...
And they were basically just bum rushing. There was a little weak link right there, and they were... And that's crazy. That's crazy.
So
is that a peaceful caravan of people who wanting to come in and seek asylum, or is that a
well, you
mad
see
rush
them
to the
rushing,
border?
and they hit this fence line or something, and they all take off down the fence line, coming over to this way.
under that bridge, because
And
that
right
bridge to the
here
left
was
right
an
there,
area,
that's
or
and you see them, they're all walking over there trying to get into that little causeway. That's like the bridge is a walk over. Man, crazy. Now look at this one. Now we don't know what part. We're somewhere along the Tijuana border.
right here throwing rocks. See this guy right here picks up.
Boom, throws it over. That's crazy, you guys. I mean, you see what's happening right now on the border. I mean, is that a peaceful caravan that you've been brainwashed into believing that it's just?
Yeah. And I'm still arguing with people with these videos, which I have it on pause. Let me bring it up here. Let's count the women you can see in just off this video, how the intro is.
I don't see any children.
I mean, this might be a young man in the red shirt. Like teenage though, like anywhere, I don't know, just guessing, probably 15 to 20. I mean, these are all 40,
Older
50-year-old men
males.
here. This guy again, this might be a younger guy with his back. Now look, what's he got hanging out of his back pocket? Is that a phone? GPS? What is that?
Is that one of those little remote microphones?
See
you
that?
wired up for when you're doing a little, you know.
Yeah, and he's got a phone in his hand.
So,
Something.
I don't know. Let's pause it to like maybe at the 20-second mark and see if you can get maybe a or different angle. What about those people up at the wall right there? So I see one female there, right there on the and to the left of the play button. And if you back up a little bit, she was in a pink. Nope, just a little. It's kind of covered right now. A little bit more. Go back a little bit more.
Oh, right here.
Right there.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's
Because it's a
long
pink
hair,
shirt, you
so-
assume, huh?
Pink
Not joking.
shirt. Well, you know, I mean, I'm trying to think of how.
Look
how
at these
the
camera
individual
guys up
runs.
here. What is
Look
this
at
guy
the
doing? Why are they all
camera.
see both of them? They're all bent in the perfect like.
This is a stage. Why did that guy, that little wireless mic? I bet you that guy was queued up for sound in the crowd. So you have all these reporters, and are they throwing rocks at the reporters right there?
This guy's
It's
down getting
videotaping
rocks, right?
them? Yep.
Let's see what I can grab here.
Are they throwing it at the reporters? Because look at these guys. Look at all those. You got people with cameras and.
This guy up here with he's at the wall holding on, and then got a camera to the crowd this way. There's this guy up here being on what's he
got
on
a
pedestal?
camera. He's like hanging off of one of the things or something. He's got a camera. So
Yeah, I
again,
don't
you
know.
guys, I mean, just look at this stuff. I mean, you see right there, that's a good shot.
Look at this.
Camera guy. Ooh, that's a good looking camera too. That's not a cheapy camera. So I mean, wow.
Okay,
Do
so
you see any?
here's maybe a woman dead center, pink shirt again, but
I mean, again, I'm not seeing like children, you know. I'm only seeing the children shots when they show the
let's look for
tear
the
gas.
people with the phones that are standing to get the. Well, there's somebody where they're at right now with this camera.
What we're shooting. Through.
watching.
This is, they're on the rooftop panning out. You can see of the shadow of the overpass. They're on the overpass. We have a view of the overpass because they're panning down. You can see the shadow. So
There's people down here.
I mean, it's really hard to tell. I mean, who's who in there, but man. I know there was a couple of other shots of some tear gas. There was a couple really great shots. I wouldn't say great, but that shows a mom or a woman, the two children. One of the children doesn't have any shoes on, and there's a tear gas bomb going off right by him. I don't know. Try to maybe find that one if you can see it. So it just seems that at least that one we just kind of went over real quick of them throwing rocks. It's why was the media there? It almost reminds me of the riots a few years back, and they had like a little media fence brigade kind of lined up so the media can be recording the riots as they were happening. And it's like,
Getting
wait a
like
minute, that
in
never-
crowd sound. We
in
want wide
crowd
angle.
sound.
We
Yeah,
want
wide angle. And the rioters weren't touching the people of the news. They're all behind the little fences, and people were rioting, and it was like seemed really staged. And that guy that you pointed out that had a little tiny wireless, either that was an old school flip phone, or it's one of those little wireless mics, little lapel mics.
Yeah. All right. I was just looking at some comments here. So, I don't know what I was reading. I don't know if we're going to do a call-in. We got a little bit of time here. We're going to be doing the call-ins until we get a little bit going. We don't really have a limit but we said at least once a week. We got 91 people in the room. That's awesome. For a Monday,
I know there's a rally today.
Midday. Is there a rally today?
Yeah, Crying Snowflake said 2 rallies later today in Michigan, I believe. Could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that real quick. We'll see. Roll up on there. So I think he's going to be in.
Nope. President Donald Trump is heading to Mississippi for 2 rallies.
Mississippi. 2 rallies. Okay. The state begins with the M, so Crying Snowflake, you were almost right on point, just wrong state. Good. Michigan,
Michigan,
You're all good,
Minnesota, or whatever. Mississippi. Very close.
Yeah, Biloxi. Nice.
Monday afternoon, and then night in Biloxi. So Biloxi, Mississippi tonight. And Monday afternoon. So I don't know when that is.
So we'll definitely have to check that out. So
yeah, we'll check that out. Probably do the one this evening, I would say. All right, we'll have a live stream up. We'll do it here on the Patriot Tech. That's the only option we have
at this point in time. Yeah. So pretty interesting, man. I mean, you see those those videos that we just kind of watched right now, and you think to yourself, how is the news going to spin this one? I mean, is this people trying to get asylum? I mean, that one shows them bum rushing, literally just rushing the border, which that's chaos. And the other one shows them literally throwing rocks. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Say it again a little bit, because I was reading a bunch of comments. I was trying to catch up on comments from when we were doing our thing earlier.
This last couple of videos we just watched with them rushing the border, then the other one with them throwing rocks, and it's like how can the mainstream media spin this as a peaceful caravan?
Yeah.
Seeking asylum from these countries.
It's no different, folks, than anything else that happens and takes place. They're used to showing you something. So like I was saying, I'm arguing with people, fellow Americans, about this. Even our local news channel posted a video on social media, Twitter or whatnot, something, and people were commenting. And the video or the picture that they used was all men climbing the border, and they're saying that there was an attack or a certain facet at the border yesterday, and they were getting a little violent and out of hand and just trying to come over. And they're like, oh, a fellow American put, we kept out women and children. Thank God. Like making a joke that all we did was keep out some women and children. And I was like, you're leaving out a small little fact of there was men throwing rocks and breaking into the border and ripping down fence and pulling it back and breaking laws to get in and saying for, what it was. They left out all that and just painted a real nice picture of what, supposedly is happening. So it's interesting how fellow Americans even paint the picture falsely, not alone, but what are they repeating? What are they mirrors of what they kind of see on the news? So if that's what they're getting, that's what they repeat. But now they're in the age, we're in the age of where people are, literally, doing one thing, and they're showing nothing but maybe men, and they're trying to narrate what it is, even though you're like, wait, they're kind of burning cars down and doing, if you saw all that happening, this is a peaceful picnic, folks. And, like, well, they're burning buildings down. And, so, hey, I don't know. What do you think with the media? Is it any different than what they've done? Are they just?
I think this is status quo for the media. They'll show you one thing and tell you another, and your mind is so used to the disinformation coming from your eyes, your ears, and I mean, yeah, it's conjumbled. I find it very interesting that there's again a lot of news coverage, and we're seeming to get a lot of reporters in the heat of things, reporting what's going on, but yet, it's not what's happening. So it's typical. We show this to you guys only just for, give you guys a little bit of foundation to work from. I mean, are these videos current? And that's what came out. I mean, CNN showing them. We're pulling this stuff from all news feed that everybody's repumping. Now, is this old footage? We don't know. Well, we know this is what's currently circulating around mainstream media right now. And so
Yes.
no longer is it a peaceful caravan hundreds of miles away and they're just seeking asylum. They're now here and they're not acting peacefully, not standing in a line. Hey, one by one, they're not, none of that stuff is happening. They're literally coming here with full-on aggressive intent, and that's an invasion.
You can't always be narrated, folks. If you can see things and hear things, you got to use your best judgment. You don't need to have the visual on and then have a CNN reporter talking in, or even us, to explain what you're seeing. You got to kind of
exactly.
If they're punching somebody in the face and then they're like, they're just, that person's just defending himself, and you can listen to that. That's rhetoric or lies. So again, why do we always point to mainstream if we're like, it's all fake news? Well, we know there's 90% truth. They've been reporting on this caravan. What's true about the caravan? That there were people, they were coming through, they were, on their way here. All that's been true. What's false about it? That it's not a caravan, that it's an invasion. See, they'll show you everything, 90% of the story. They'll give you 95% of fact, or they'll give you 100% of the story, but you got to kind of come to your own conclusion on why or what, the who, what, when, where, and why. That's what you have to chew the meat and spit out the bone.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it 100%. I mean, the fact is most people are not stopping, thinking logically or critically analyzing what's going on. These people are not starving and hungry coming from destitute countries. They're very healthy. They got smartphones. And so who's funding all of this? Are they these poor, hungry people? Then how do they get hundreds of miles so quickly, so well fed? And, you think logically you can see what's happening. And so we do. There's nuggets of truth in the mainstream media that they wrap in mostly lies. So that's where we're discerning it out. We're not on the border. And this is nothing Mike and I talked about is, you Patriots watching right now and who are subscribed to both the Patriot Hour and the Patriot Tech, if you're close to any of these incidences and you have an ability to, from a safe location, a safe distance, call us in, say, hey, I'm down here, I'm so-and-so this at this border, and I mean, I'm here right now with my phone. We would love to have you guys either call in and say, hey, I'm down here, or if you're in the area and you have
Trump rallies,
local,
we talked about.
Yeah, Trump rallies.
I know
if there's
sometimes it
anybody
gets
right now-
really booked up or the internet is no good around them. I've had it personally for ourselves when Scott went, but if you can, if we have 2 or 3 people that are going to be at a Trump rally, we can get those 3 people to kind of say, yeah, and we can try all 3, at least maybe get a little bit from each person and then have enough to say, hey, that was kind of cool. So if anyone's going to be at any of these places, we can have you beam in. No problem.
Yeah, because you guys are our boots on the ground. I mean, we've already talked to Ellie 1978, out in the Northeast. We talked to Robert out in the Southwest. I mean, so we've got boots on the ground with you guys all over the country. So if something pops off, something going on locally where you live at, you guys, you have the Patriot Hour email. Drop us an email, and we're doing on there. That's the kind of stuff that we enjoy about this live show. Is if anybody's in Biloxi, Mississippi, and you want to say, hey, yeah, I'll see if we can't beam in. I'll walk in the parking lot, or I didn't get in, I got outside.
Outside's perfect.
We'll do as best as we can. So
we don't want anyone to actually call in while they're trying to enjoy the Trump rally. All right, while you're in there, experience of a lifetime, whatever. Just out in the line, talking to other patriots, or giving us a view of the whole thing. Talk to us for a minute. Blah blah blah. All right, you're probably not going to be able to hear much. Whatever.
Maybe some other people in line say, hey, I'm on live with the Patriot Hour right now. Hey, what are you guys thinking? There's all kinds of fun stuff that we can pretty much get going. So bear with us. That's definitely coming down the pike for sure.
All right. I just don't understand why CNN and the rest of them are not being prosecuted for lies of the free press. Eventually, all right. Right now they're being used. People say they don't think Mexico's going to pay for the wall. Trump can't get them to pay for the wall. Well, how did he get the media to give him free press to get him elected? He duped them. So I don't know. They will be eventually. They are now. There's a petition signed. If Jim Acosta gets to get his back, why can't Alex Jones have his press pass? Alex Jones be maybe right next to Acosta. They're saying, and why not? I'm all for
freedom of the press and freedom of speech. And no matter if I disagree with what you say, or I don't like how you look or how you say it, I have the freedom to go elsewhere. But yeah, Mike and I are very big proponents on we don't like censorship of any kind.
Yeah, and we're hitting it. We know YouTube, like me showing you guys here a little bit ago, that it's at all-time high, folks. They are definitely a propaganda arm of all of this. Every video goes yellow. They need to be green, and only after weeks, November 21st, so that was only 4 or 5 days ago. But you have to hit these reviews. I haven't even done them. I'm always late. They already hit their peaks, 20,000 views. Even if I hit them right now, I can do a request review. Manual request. It takes time. You have to hit that. And boom, then it flips, and now you're good. It'll say that it's been submitted, and I'll be lucky to hear back in a week or two. 4 or 5 days maybe. And it'll say it's fine. But once you get put in the yellow, these videos don't get put into the algorithm correctly of YouTube, because if they're not putting ads on it, we're not going to make a couple bucks off the video, and YouTube doesn't get to make a couple bucks. So they're going to more promote videos that they don't make go yellow. I've even seen normal channels fight with this on certain levels, depending on what they're talking about. I don't know what normal channel means, but ones that aren't in talking of truth, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and Mike and I, we show you that, and it's not for the financial benefit, but just to bring home the point of what Mike said earlier. We started all this. Mike started this. We're all doing this to get the truth out to as many people as possible.
So that's disheartening as hell. That's all it is, folks. It's not like, I'll run this channel financially like we did. We came in with everything dang near. We've gotten upgrades. We're only going to get better and get better stuff and keep up with the most modern stuff, not cutting edge, just modern. When everything goes to 4K eventually, we don't want to be left in the dark, right? So,
Well, you know, and again, yeah. So with us doing all of this, this is just a matter of is we want to get in those premium algorithms, the ones that have all the suggestions, because that literally gets these videos to the most amount of people possible. And like Mike said again, when they're yellowed, it's a whole
we've seen it.
different
So, yep.
behind the scenes that you don't get. You know, and we have multiple.
People, that's when
machines to
people
check
say,
all
I
that
didn't get
stuff.
alerted. I don't think
Yes.
anything works correctly. Once it gets yellowed, and that's what all these other channels talk about. Once you get yellowed, they get put into a whole different category of trash, I think. But hey, that's what we're up against, all right? We could have started on any platform. We decided YouTube. Why did we think YouTube? I just thought because it was the biggest platform. It comes on most every iPhone, Android. They're pocketed in with
across
these companies.
Earth, yes.
You have to delete this program if you don't want it, you know? Where if it's like, let's go to Patreon or, you know, some of these other ones, and you'd have to literally come across that. Most people don't even, you tell them like, I'm on this, and they're like, what's that one? I've heard of YouTube. I've never heard of that one. So we decided to come here because we figured there was the most people here. And if you look at numbers, it's close. It's like the number one, you know, and then we figured there's a lot of people sleeping here. If there's a lot of people using it, then that means, you know, there's a lot of people that are, so why not start at YouTube? That's all.
Wake up a whole bunch of folks. Yeah.
So let me see here.
So, yeah. So pretty interesting talk, man. I tell you what, it's get interesting at the border. I know it makes a lot of patriots nervous. What's happening on our southern border? The military's function in assisting our border patrol, ICE agents, and police officers down there. We're all kind of interested to see how they're, you know, what their rules of engagement, because we really haven't gotten the military's rules of engagement. And a lot of times we don't get that until years after the incident is over. So
like Vietnam,
we're
for
all
example.
speculating.
1984 rules
Yes,
of
sir.
engagement
Yes, sir.
got declassified.
So we don't know the military's rules of engagement as if they're very moment in time at the border. We do know they're doing backup duties right now. So that's what we know as of right now. With the videos you saw today, you kind of see, at least in some parts of the border, what's happening. So always be prepared. You know, if you see something, say something. You know, be aware of your environment. It's getting in, you know, it's the winter time now. So, hey, you know, power can go out. I know that here in the town that I live in, there was a lot of residents without power. We had a snowstorm come in, and that's probably ubiquitous across a lot of the areas that get snowstorms. So keep yourself prepared, you know. Lack of knowledge and lack of preparedness only breeds bad things, people, and you don't want to be caught in the cold with no supplies.
All right, I was going to go over one of the last Q posts here. This one was 2501. This came last night, just before 9 o'clock, 8:55 p.m., 2055 military. And we got a repost of one from September 15th. Post 2176. We got the executive order 13,526, section 1.7, classification, prohibitions, and limitations. And this basically goes over why we should never keep things classified or fail to declassify them. And if it's involving one trying to conceal violations of the law that were broken by these agencies, and that's why they're keeping it classified, or just overall inefficiency or administrative errors. Two, you know, you can't keep something blanketed under the national security and classified to prevent embarrassment to a single person, an organization, or just the agency overall. 3, to restrain competition. 4, to prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interests of national security. So this goes into Whitaker, this guy that's stepping up for Attorney General Jeff Sessions, in conjunction with the OIG, approved the release of classified documents 1 through 4, as requested by the House committee and ordered by the President of the United States. Will the release occur prior to the scheduled testimony of these people? All right. So we got list advantages of releasing, declassifying something before the testimony. And will the release occur maybe after the scheduled testimony? List the advantages that way. So you're getting like a piece of paper out and you're going to be like,
Pros and cons.
Yep, pros and cons of doing it. Now, if those testifying know that select classified information documents will become public and there's self-incriminating stuff inside of these 1 through 4 docs, how might that alter / change their testimony? DC has become rat infested. So think about that, folks. It's like if you're going to testify and you know that there's things personally, only you would know this. What do? Do you go to court and tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Or do you go there, lie, hope that nothing comes out that's going to discredit you, make you a perjurer, so now, if you were in control, like back in the days when people would go and lie and you swear in and everything, but they knew that they were in control of this information that was being hidden under classified or national security. These same people now know that it's not. So I found that to be kind of interesting.
It's a brilliant move because what it does is it opens the door to perjury either situation. If the information comes out before the testimony, then this person cannot lie. If they lie, perjury immediately. If they go to court or they go to their testimony, they give their deposition and it's all false, and then it comes out after the fact, well, then that's perjury. You lied on the stand. That's yet another crime. Hey, one of our presidents got impeached because he lied on the stand, and in perjury, you can't lie on the stand. So I think this is a very brilliant move of how it's at a point now where whatever comes out, you better be saying the truth, because if it comes out before, you have no choice. If it comes out after, you're writing the possibility of you getting hemmed up with even more charges because you lied under oath.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Any closing thoughts here? We'll hitting about the hour mark. I know 15 minutes of this was intro because we were waiting, but still, this is about what I could do. I got a little bit of time here before I got to head out, take care of some real world things, like just literally away from keyboard. So any closing thoughts, Ben? What do you think in general about the border? Any future concerns? What the president and the military are saying versus fake news media, the lamestream.
The lamestream. I'll take it back to what we always say when it comes to the border. Why do you have fences? Why do you have a front door that's locked? I'll tell you, if somebody was throwing rocks across my fence and trying to push down my fence to come into my property, I would take preventative action to stop that. So me seeing that on our national border, I believe that our president and the military is going to be taking preventative actions to stop that. People who have crossed already illegally have been gotten hemmed up. So I'm supporting what he's doing down there. If this is not checked and not stayed on top of, this can spiral out of control immensely. We know the crime rates in our southwestern states have skyrocketed when we let an immense amount of illegals into the border or non-vetted legals through for whatever reason. So I say be vigilant. What's happening? What's going to happen in the future? If we don't get some type of control over the influx of people trying to immigrate into our country the legal way, we're going to have a real problem on our hands, and they will have to enact some type of martial law to where now nobody can be coming and going in the border, and it's got to be, you know, they've already tried to shut it down for a period of time, the border, and that hemmed up a lot of legal people coming and going that are dual citizens who work in San Francisco, you know, San Diego, live in Tijuana, or you have commerce. There's commerce that go back and forth. So you close a port of entry down, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of goods being stopped between two countries. That's completely legal, and that's what both countries want. So it's a delicate play of a show of power and having our borders still open.
All right. There you have it. There was Ben. I agree as well, folks. We need to get a wrap. So I don't have any issue. I'll be the first to say it with immigration, legal immigration. The million plus a year that come in legally. We're thankful. They are looking for better lives, and it works out real well. They provide a great service. They become citizens over time. And this is exactly what we want. If they could up that, if the need is that we need 4 million a year, 5 million a year, we need to look at numbers and take them in legally. I don't know about the old adage of we need the best of the best around the world. We can take in moderate as long as they can do some skillful work, learn things, and are about pitching in. But we have to vet these people. These people coming in from overseas. Just like our service members, myself, Ben, anyone else, anytime you go overseas, we get loaded up with vaccines, shots. We don't really have a say-so. It kind of comes down as an order, and if you refuse it, you're kind of, refusing a direct order, and coming back, same thing. We need to be checked out. The reason for that is going over to foreign countries, picking up diseases that possibly still exist there, bringing them back to our loved ones. When we get back, it can create a huge outbreak in this country. So those are just some of the concerns that even citizens have to go through. But, everyone's fighting for the fact that an illegal shouldn't. That's, to me, the most disgusting thing going on lately is arguing with fellow Americans, my fellow brothers and sisters in this country, about all the rights and laws that should apply to illegals, but for some reason they don't apply to everyone here. We need to get on the same page, folks. There is no more of this. I'm walking the line and jumping back and forth. Lots of people do it. There's just a wrong and a right. That's what needs to be figured out. All right, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. Thanks for joining in. Over here again, if you're showing up from the Patriot Hour, got linked all the way over to this, please subscribe to this channel and keep subscribed to the Patriot Hour. We're going to be doing our live feeds over here. We're going to have a live Trump rally tonight. We'll get that one going. I would say I'd do both, but I want to be real careful again with the live feeds. I want to get this Trump rally going. Folks, probably not going to be playing any kind of music in there anymore. We don't want to lose the live feed. We just want to have a good time with what we can do. So we're just, and I'm all about pushing buttons and limits with free speech. But as far as copyright stuff, I get it. There's creative stuff out there, and I'm not allowed to just, take that, and I'm not monetized or anything on the Patriot Tech. But still, things happen. You get banned, blocked, something. So we're fighting that daily. Again, the reason we showed you that, if you guys want to donate, the links are down below. Again, that helps with multitudes of things we're trying to do. The links are down below in the description box. Other than that, take a look in the comment section and share this video on all social media platforms while you can. Again, have a great afternoon. We'll see you back here real soon. The next Patriot Tech /hour update videos. Look for the live stream here later this evening for the live Trump rally, and join in on the Patriot chat. I'm Michael. Have a great afternoon.